Hey everybody, welcome to Chop It Up. This is episode 8. Thank you everybody for the support so far with this new virtual setup. This is a new change for us, but now this is also giving us some cool opportunities that we're having a West Coast and an East Coast person both on the same time. So first off, we gotta get into it. Gotta shout them out every single time. First off, we gotta shout out Cloud 7 bags, some of the best in the game, made here in the United States in Dallas, Texas. Make sure you check out Cloud 7 below. They got their big bag, which is this one I have, always with the USB and my business cards on me. So if you see me, come get a business card. And hey, if the headliner doesn't show up, I may have to step up there and plug in and spin some tunes for the people. But yeah, make sure you go check out Cloud 7 below. Thank you, Cloud 7, for being our sponsor for Chop It Up. It means a lot to us. So that getting in, this man to the left of me, he really doesn't need an introduction. Everybody in the EDM space, from Riddim to dubstep, we all know him from his documenting. You always see him with his GoPro in the crowd. If there's a mosh pit, he's most likely in that mosh pit getting content for us. He's at so many sets that we can't even keep up with all the time. And sometimes I question if this man really sleeps. Reigning from New Jersey, I welcome the Festival Finesser to Chop It Up.
Thank you for having me, Nate.
No, this has been a big one. So I'm really excited just so we can talk about, the culture of Riddim and dubstep, and also, your journey, as everybody knows you. Everybody, you go everywhere, you see in the crowd, everybody's yelling your name, Festival Finesser. They're yelling your, man, there's not a festival that I hear anything going on. Like, yep, Brian's there in the pit getting stuff. So Brian and I have met a couple times. It's kind of a little tough for us, but we always say what up, and I'm that big guy that he can't always miss. But this is kind of a great time for you, Brian. A lot of people know what's happening this week. We'll get into that later this episode. But you had a busy 2023. What went on, and what were some of the highlights for you?
So 2023 actually was it was definitely busy, but when I looked at it on paper, digitally, I have all of my videos, festivals in a database by year. So it's looking at what I was doing in 2018, 2019, that was almost like my prime, I would say. And then comparing it to 2023, it was definitely a lot weaker in relation to how frequently I went out. But also I went to some awesome places. We went to Paradise Blue. I went to Arizona and played a show out there with Whoisbrian for the Grocery Bash. And then we did Forbidden Kingdom. I played Elements Festival, which was one of my biggest bookings to date, but now Northern Invasion is probably going to surpass that. Big Dub Festival I played as well. That's a little bit more local, but that's one that's one of our go-tos that we just don't miss. And Lost Lands, obviously. And those are probably the big ones that come to mind. We might have done some smaller local fests, but sometimes those fests are so small and the artists are so small that I don't even document them, and just kind of go to the festival and enjoy it. Just kind of, I say I'm going naked without my camera, and I'm just out there enjoying myself and just doing what I do and being me.
You're missing summoning also.
Oh, summoning, yeah, how did I forget that one, bro? It's definitely a lot easier on, like I said, when I have everything in front of me. And, all that stuff seems like it was so long ago, but it was literally summoning was just a few months ago.
I know, which is crazy. And, man, I tried to make it happen, to make it a summoning this past year. And it just seemed like all you guys just had a blast.
It was definitely, I'm happy I went the first year. I'm happy I went the second year. And, because I for me, as a content creator and, a documentarian, I like to, capture a first time festival. And that's really what kind of got me to this point, is going to Lost Lands 2017. And I was a hardcore Excision fan, I still am, so knowing what was about to go down from all the just the tour stops that Excision throws, and then to know he was gonna throw a festival and the lineup behind it, that was one of the, I'm sure you hear about it, one of the best experiences for any kind of dubstep connoisseur, any basshead, because it was core dubstep fans. It was before the hype, everybody was out there in Excision merch wearing all black. There was no glitter and tutus, and it was what I'm saying, it was very core dubstep. The energy was the rails were just waves of headbangers in sync, rails coming off the ground, bro. I've never seen so much. I mean, obviously now that I've been doing it, but that was the first time I've been holy fuck, dude, there is so much pyro going on every drop, fireworks, 10-foot flames, and it was something I'd never seen before. And that again, seeing it for the first time and being able to share all the advice that goes along with it, the camping, the travel, the
Hmm.
security, and like, with having that under my belt and then doing it like a second year, like, I went to Lost Lands the first year as an attendee. The second year, they invited me to come. And like I got a guest list for doing the content because I wanted to really like boost the awareness and like the hype of the festival. And I remember like making my lineup review, and the festival commented on it, like, thanks for doing the review. And I was like, holy fuck, like the festival recognized me at at such a year into my YouTube career. So like
Yeah.
that was like, a good sign, and like it was only up from there, like.
Yeah, I remember 2017, I believe, was my sophomore year of college. The lineup for Lost Lands came out, and I was just like, man, this is special, and I can't go because I'm in baseball and it's fall ball, and I can't miss. I can't just tell my coach, hey, coach, I'm gonna go to Ohio and sleep 3 days in a field, and
It's crazy, like that you say it like that. But I wasn't gonna go. Like when I saw it, same thing. I was like, oh my god, this lineup looks crazy. But I was still like a festival baby at the time. So like the farthest I had ever been, I mean, mind you, I had been to EDC Vegas, and that's where I said like that was like my true testament, because every other festival I had been to was local. Electric Zoo, EDC New York when it was a thing, Camp Bisco, which was like 2 hours from my house, and um Moonrise, which is 3 hours into
yes,
Baltimore. So like all very different festivals. EDC is a city fest, 20 minutes from my house. EZoo is also a city fest, like 40 minutes from my house. But then I went to Camp Bisco, and Mysteryland as well. Those are all like the my foundation for like
mm-hmm.
my festing. It's like where I learned a lot. And like I said, all festivals are very different, and it's like between the camping, like the first festival was carside camping at Mysteryland, but it was offsite. So like we had a fireplace, we had a faucet, like running water, we had this giant plot of land, and then we just took a shuttle to and from the event grounds each day. Then Camp Bisco, I'm thinking it's going to be like Mysteryland, where it's carside camping, and it's not. It's a free for all. You got to take a trailer, like a shuttle, up the mountain, and you're literally camping on a mountain. I was sleeping like this. You
Yep.
know what I'm saying? Like, and I forgot my tent poles that year, so like that was a big like learning curve, and I had to like adapt and be resourceful. That's one of my tips that I give is like you have to be ready for anything, you got to be prepared for anything, and that's why I like pack so much stuff. And everyone's like, bro, where are you going for 2 days? Why did you bring your whole entire shed? And I'm like, dude, like I've
You
been
gotta be
through it.
prepared.
The rain, the wind, forgetting things are gonna break, and it's like you want to make sure that you are comfy, as opposed to like wooking it out and like struggling to survive, and like So each one of those festivals led to like that Lost Lands
Hmm.
experience, and then being able to share the camping tips and share the experience. It was cool because it was a first time festival that like a lot of people didn't get to go to, and after seeing how crazy it was, it's like, yeah, I want to do that next year. And like, so going back to why I brought that up, when I saw the lineup, I was gonna go. I didn't think I'd be able to go to Ohio. Like I said, the farthest I've been is like to Baltimore, like 3 hours away, minus EDC Vegas. But like I said, that was like the real like testament to my finessing. And so the girl I was talking to at the time was like, yo, we have to go, blah blah blah. And like she was the one that really like made me ask my manager, like, hey, would I be able to get off like Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, maybe Monday for this event? And he was like, looking at the schedule, like, I guess I can make it happen. And so like Monday I was asking to go, and Thursday I was getting in the car to go.
There you
So
go.
like it was
Holy
that last
cow.
minute, and like and like who knows where I'd be if that never happened,
Yeah.
So like
Things happen. I mean, the one thing that I always tell people is in the East Coast, you guys are a little bit spoiled with how many festivals are near you guys. So
it's
close.
very close, yeah.
Me in the Midwest, growing up, going to festivals, every single one was camping festivals, no matter what. So then when I started to meet people, and they'd be like, "Yeah, let's go to this festival," and be like, "Oh, sick! Is there camping?" They're like, "No, we just get a hotel." And I was just like, "Oh, that doesn't really make the experience." Like I grew up going to like Electric Forest, Somerset Music Festival, which no longer happens, and then summer camp also in Illinois. Just great festivals, and now like the whole scale and the size. Like Lost Lands, finally, I was able to go for the first time last year. You're not prepared for the scale of camping, the size of the
Yeah,
attendees until you truly get there, and it's almost a
yeah,
little intimidating when you see
it's
the
very
aerial,
intimidating.
the views of just like, man, I might be stuck in line
You're gonna get
forever.
lost. You're gonna
Yeah,
get lost at Lost
you
Lands
are
for
gonna
sure
get
if you don't know where you're
lost.
going.
Yes. So sadly this year I will not be attending. It's all good. Um, I'll be watching and stuff, but maybe you might be seeing me at some other places this year, but we never know. But yeah, Lost Land's fantastic. Do you feel like that really kind of catapulted your career as kind of like a content creator in the festival space? Because I knew you before then with your content that you would do, but do you think Lost Lands kind of like stepped you up even more?
I think like I said, going that second year and having like, being able to go into the photo pit and having like, the first like finesse gang meetup and like making the first merch, like I went to Lost Lands with 50 t-shirts that people pre-ordered, like I was like, hey, if you want merch, like let me know what size and color you want and I'll meet you at the meetup. And like, and I walked into the festival with two fucking plastic bags of t-shirts and I said, meet me at the Dinosaur at like whatever time. And mind you, like I remember having a meetup later on in the year we had at the Dinosaur, and I was like, holy shit, there are so many people here, there's no way anyone's gonna find me, so like that was like, back then, 2018, you meet up at the Dinosaur at like 2 o'clock, and it was like the festival hadn't even started yet. There's so much space, and like it's just crazy to see the growth. And like that is 2018 is where like I really got to like kind of like get a glimpse of like the reality that could be my dreams, and like going to festivals for free and shooting artists and being backstage and getting like exclusive content. And yeah, so that was like a very like it was a very nice foundation. And having that under my belt, and then being like, hey, I just shot at Lost Lands backstage, and then coming to all these like festivals back home, and having that as like some credit, like some notoriety, it would maybe be like, okay, if he could hang at that festival, maybe we want him at our festival too. And I was able to go to like Moonrise, backstage, and Ever After when that was the thing over there. So like that definitely like
R.I.P. Ever After real quick.
Yeah. That was another like one of our favorite festivals. I'm like, like Canada is such a fun place, and it's like it's so crazy to like just say that you're going to a festival, like traveling out of the country for a festival. Like Paradise Blue, Northern Invasion, like those are the only two times I've really left the country, and it was for music events. And it's just like like even if you're just going into Canada, crossing the border, bro, it's like everyone's always speaking French. It's a whole other world, and like like and then Paradise Blue is a whole like tropical paradise. So like it definitely is like very cool, and I'm happy that like I talk to a lot of people, I work with a lot of people, and it's like very few people can say that they've traveled to 10 different states and it's all for music. And what's even crazier is that I can travel to all those different states and meet people from all those different states and then see them in other countries. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what I really love about like the community, like this festival culture is like the connection, how everybody is like we're all kind of here for the same reason. We're all chasing those artists and those festivals and that experience. And yeah, it's just like, festivals are always better with your friends. And like, that's something I really realized, because it's like, I have my girlfriend, that's my ride or die, my partner in crime. And we can go to any festival together and have a good time, but nothing compares. Like we went to Electric Forest, just us. And Electric Forest is like, doesn't matter about the lineup, it's the forest, it's a vibe. But having gone from the first year I went with like 6 cars full of people, mind you, they weren't all like, day one homies, but like, that was my festival fan for the weekend. And like, then having gone with my girlfriend and just like one other person, it was totally different vibes. Mm-hmm. And it's like same thing going to FK with 8 people that are from New Orleans, New Jersey, New York, Connecticut, and then like Mississippi, wherever like that Midwest kind of, well, no, not Midwest, like
more south,
farther. Well, yeah. My geography is terrible.
South and west, if we're getting technical.
And so like, yeah, it was just, and that's one of the things. And like I thought about this recently. It's like those festival friends that you have, like the reason that they are like you guys are usually so connected is because y'all go through shit together. It's like not every one of your friends is going to be able to sleep with you in a parking lot of Walmart in Ohio for 4 hours before the gates open. You know what I'm saying? Like you guys go through shit, and it's like shit that not everybody is down for and like will expect. And it's like there's a lot of commitment and dedication to this festival lifestyle.
There is, and I will give you that. I mean, you've done way more than myself, but I remember some of my situations and going through it. And we'll get into Northern more about like the pocket of how many Americans went last year, the big group of all of us up there. But we'll kind of just get into the Northern Invasion talk. I mean, you see, I'm repping the shirt for Northern from last
the same
year.
One.
I know, everybody does. I lost it for a while too, and then my fiance found it. She's like, "Hey, I found this shirt, Northern Invasion." I go, "Yeah, that's."
Like,
hey, I'm like, yes, I found it finally. let's kind of get into like how important Northern Invasion is for our scene in Riddim, underground, and kind of you've documented it 3 times now, correct? Correct me if I'm wrong. Well, now this will technically be your third.
This will be the third. Yeah,
this will be the third for you technically.
I think so.
Well, yeah, because the COVID year that got canceled. Yeah. Well, let's kind of get into how important Northern Invasion is, also your booking. So I guess we can just get into Northern Invasion overall. So I don't know where you want to start from the first year you went, and then I can kind of talk about last year from my perspective being there the first year.
Yeah. So the first year I went, I had basically only heard about it like through Facebook, and I don't even really remember how I found it. It was just kind of on Facebook. I don't know if it was an ad. I don't know if somebody shared it, but I remember seeing that lineup, and I was just like, dude, those are all like the SoundCloud artists that I am like listening to readily, like daily, and downloading their music and playing their music, and those artists rarely get to come to America for visa restrictions and whatever. So we thought like it was impossible, and then because like it sounds crazy going to a show in Canada, and like then when we started to like do logistics stuff, we're like, yo, this is only 5 hours away. And like I remember the night we were talking about like going, like sending it, we were like, yo, should we do it, blah blah blah. And that night, the night before, I got like profusely ill, and I was just like throwing up, had like stomach pains, and like up at 3 a.m. just like yakking in the bathroom, and I was like, yo, I don't think it's gonna happen, like the way I'm feeling right now. And I woke up the next day kind of late, and I was like, I'm actually feeling kind of good. And I remember leaving the house, or leaving my girlfriend's house, pack a bag real quick at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, with the littlest flurries coming down from the sky. And we're like, starting the Northern Invasion vlog. We're about to go to Canada for the night. Bree's got work at 10 a.m. the next morning, but we're gonna send it, and we're gonna drive 5 hours through New York into Montreal, and we're gonna see this crazy lineup. And I remember it was like Nexus, Glocks, Graham Greene was there, Flix and Modus, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure they had like a secret guest. And honestly, I know Ionix was there. I think Subfiltronic was there. I might be blurring the lineups and the years together, but like those are honestly some of the most like iconic, Riddim like pioneers, OGs. And so again, for me, it was like wanting to see all those artists that are SoundCloud like icons, and it's like you can finally put a face to the name, and it's like those aren't artists you see on lineups generally. So like to see them all together like that was like, yo, we have to do this. And especially as a fairly new content creator, I was very like on the chase, like I gotta be there, I gotta document this, because it's like it's also exclusive, because not many Americans are going to be going to see that. So it's like, and and so like we had this crazy road trip. Like we drove, it was a 6-hour drive approximately, then it ended up being one of Montreal's biggest snowstorms in like 20 years. So our 6-hour drive ended up being an 8-hour drive, and now then like we didn't realize that like Montreal is a winter wonderland, and now we understand why the branding of everything is snowy and icy and like winter animals, and like we're parking in like mounds of snow. I'm driving an Accurate TSX, this little 4-door sedan, and like we're doing like 40 miles on the highway, because bro, we saw like 2 different tractor trailers in a ditch off the side of the road that just like lost control. So we were like, and then like people were just so dumbfounded that we were there from America, and like people recognized me out there too, which was crazy. I was not expecting to be recognized in another country, again being relatively new. And then we ended up probably driving more time than we spent at the show because of like the delays and like how long it took us to get there. And we got there at like 9 o'clock, and we left around like probably 2, and we sent it back the next day straight through. And like that was my parents still make fun of me for that, like, oh, you're gonna go to Canada again for the night, like so that was definitely honestly one of my favorite vlogs to watch, one of my favorite memories and like experiences as the Festival Finesser. And like going to that show, not only was it crazy because like I said, going to a different country, sending it for the night, this far ass drive, but then you get there and it's like I thought it was just me being there and like being really excited, but then I went the next year and I was like, bro, this is how they are. Like, this is the base capital. You know what I'm saying? And like the energy is insane, and it's like when you mix that kind of energy and crowd with the culture, it's like Riddim artists are very active, and it's like they're always leaving you on your toes, and it's like kind of like suspenseful with like the 32 bar pre-drops, and it's just like everyone's got their hands on their head like, yo, what is going on right now? And everyone's yelling and screaming, and like I love that. And like you don't get that at a lot of shows, like especially underground or not, you know what I'm saying? It's just like there is like a magic in the air, you know, like that just like, and it's like everyone like, once you walk in there, you can't help but like go crazy because you know where you're at. You know, it's like it's kind of a special place.
I compare it to like when people ask me about Northern Invasion or how I attend it or how the crowd is. I tend it to like, have you ever been to a sport like a just like a sports game where the crowd is like super into it the entire time? That's Northern Invasion. It's just
like if someone,
like
it's
that.
like if someone scored a touchdown the whole entire night. You know what I'm saying? Like everyone gets out and yeah, like
Yeah,
and it's just like that the whole entire night. There literally is no chill.
That's like when I came, because like I saw your video and also I saw Whoisbrian's, because you guys both did a video that first year, I believe.
Dude, I was not expecting to see him, bro. That was one of like, again, that just like made it so much crazier. I was like, what? Like, dude.
You're like, why are you here?
Honestly, bro. Well, he was like, why are you here? Because it's like I showed up mad late. You know what I'm saying? So like he was already there probably from the get, like had it all planned. My shit was like we planned it the day before, and it just did it.
Yeah. So like I saw your guys' stuff, and I was just like, man, I gotta make it happen. So going last year, and when I got into Club Soda, and I was standing there, and I remember just like taking it in. I was just standing there, and I'm just super simple lighting, which I love. Just super simple. No visuals, like, no anything.
It's all
And I kind of just like, I'm like, I flew to Montreal, Canada, to listen to music. And I was telling like my coworkers, they're like, oh, like what are you doing this weekend? Or they're like, oh, you got Friday off. I was like, I'm actually going to Montreal, Canada for the weekend. And they're like, why are you going to Montreal? And by the way,
February.
Yeah, I was like,
like
I don't know what's up with Northern Invasion, knock on wood this year, but what's up with the weather that they keep having that weekend of Northern? Because you remember how cold it was last year at Northern?
It's I think that's just Montreal in February.
Well, they were saying last year Northern Invasion, it was the coldest Montreal has been in like the last 30 years, from my understanding.
I went, they told me it was the biggest snowstorm they had in like 20 years, like the first year. And so like I said, I just call it a winter wonderland because every time I go, it's like, we see snow in New Jersey, but like, the roads that get paved or get plowed relatively quickly. And it's like, they got the salt coming down. And it's like, it's maybe like this much snow on the ground, like when it piles up. But like, bro, you go over there and there's like mountains of snow and they got fucking bulldozers in the street and you can't even see the road still. Like it is. And people are just driving around riding bikes like it's normal. And like, it is just so crazy. And like, I can't not call it a winter wonderland because it is just white snow everywhere. It's cold as fuck. And like, I was not ready for it the first year, and now I'm telling my boys, like, yo, bring a hat, bring a patch, bring gloves, bring boots, bring pants, bring a hoodie, bring a long sleeve shirt, a ski mask, like, come bundled. Because, like,
I was with the Florida crew last year, and I had to bring extra stuff for everybody, just to be prepared.
Those Florida guys probably it must be brutal for them because they probably never even see snow. Some of them, like
no. But no, Montreal's also a really cool city. I knew it beforehand, but after going back up there, I was like, man, I want to go back up to Montreal in the summer because it just the culture, the old downtown where Club Soda is located. I hear it's very accessible, getting around. I would love to go up there in the summertime just to go revisit Montreal. But Northern Invasion, I'll be back sometime in the future. But this year, I gotta sit things out. But yeah.
The more I've gone to like Northern, and now that it's 2 days, it's like, yo, I want to go a day early and just be a Canadian and just like see the sights and be a tourist and like, because it is a very different culture. Everyone's speaking French, but then it's like, oh, you speak English, and they just flip the switch, and it's like they're speaking perfect English, and like, it's really cool, and it's just very like culturally, it's like there's a little bit of a culture shock. Like the food is different, the language is different, but also, like I said, they can turn it on and get American on you real quick. So, like, I think that's very cool and convenient because it's like when I went to Paradise Blue in Mexico, we were staying in downtown Cancun, like outside of the hotel resort, and we had to really like use Google Translate and like speak Spanish, and no one really like no English, like so there's definitely like. And I like that. I like being in different places and just like seeing the world and just like seeing different cultures and just like becoming culturally educated,
I'm supposed to go to Paris this summer for the Summer Olympics, and
wow.
I'm a little scared going. I've never been over to Europe, and like I was like, oh, it's French though. I went to Montreal; they're speaking French. I should be okay when I go over to Paris this summer, but I don't think that's gonna work out. But yeah, dude, let's get into your biggest booking now of all time. What's going on? I bet everybody knows what's going on, but kind of just talk about this year with Northern Invasion because they're popping off this year.
So I don't even remember when it was, but I got an email. Not like I know the dudes at Alpha, from doing the content, and that's like they show a lot of love, and I was really surprised that like they when they found my video, I got followed by Alpha Squadron. I had the two dudes who were running it at the time message me and like, yo, we found your video, this is so crazy, like you're crazy for coming out all that way just for the night. And then so like the next year I got invited to like do a review in exchange for like some passes and like do the content and that stuff. And now this year, we've been doing like partnering on collab posts and stuff like that. And so I got an email one day and it said like Northern 2024 booking, and I thought like it was maybe something for like media. And then I opened it and there was like see contract attached, and I was like, dude, what? I had the whole entire lineup in front of me. I had like back-to-back Whoisbrian. They like it was a paid gig, which is like I used to come from like playing for free because I was so like not desperate, but I was hungry to like, get in front of a stage, and I really enjoy just DJing and playing for a crowd. It's like living that like rock star lifestyle and like rocking a room. So like I'll do that show for free. I'll put Northern Invasion for free. You know what I'm saying? Because that's how crazy it is. And like what's awesome too is like every year I've gone to Northern, the room is packed out from the very beginning because it's like there's no night you really like. The openers are gonna go crazy. It's like there's really no night you want to miss. You want to be there from start to finish because the energy is only gonna increase. And like me and Brian are definitely gonna be setting the tone for day two because I being an opener, I am not holding back. I got something to prove. I feel like it's like I don't play shows a lot, and I want to be like I want to have that kind of like spotlight. So when I come back home, there's video circulating and there's talk and buzz and whatever, and that same thing happened at Elements. I played Elements, and I got two bookings shortly after that. Easy After Party and like other local shit. So this is our second time me and Brian are going back to back, and the first time was at in Arizona for the Grocery Bash. And shout out to the Grocery Boys and Kevin.
Shout out Grocery Boys, yeah.
Yeah, and like that, they really like gave us an opportunity to, they flew me out, had me a place to stay, and then so what's interesting is, I'm a very like, like when I do my sets, they're very prepared. I rarely freestyle, and it's almost like my chops are rehearsed down to each, left and right cut. So, having done it with Brian, I'm a DJ who uses sync, and that's like a controversial thing, and I know how much sync can fuck up, another artist. So I was very like, like on my game about like turning it on, turning it off, making sure that like he wasn't playing a track that was, 75, and I synced it to 150, and like, that kind of stuff. So a little bit nerve-wracking, and like it is like. Being that we weren't the first artist to go on, we were the second. The decks weren't fresh, so like I was trying to like do a wheel back, and the deck was so heavy, like the vinyl adjust that like it didn't wheel back properly, and I like almost embarrassed myself and had to get on the mic, and I was like, I don't know if the fuck is good with this deck, but we're gonna do that one again, and like it took me a minute to like get into the groove of things, and so me and Brian had no prior talk about what we were gonna do, how we were gonna play, who was gonna play first, what kind of vibes we were bringing. That was like one of the most freestyle sets I've ever done, and I feel like with Northern Invasion, I'm making sure to be. Oh, Breeze here. I'm making sure to like be as rhythm as I can, because the one thing that as I've been doing this the DJ stuff, just being in this scene long, I've noticed that like rhythm DJs are like stuck in a box, and they really only play rhythm and make rhythm and spin rhythm, and I didn't want to be that. Right now rhythm is popping, and it's like I know dubstep producers who are like, yo, I'm about to start making rhythm because like that's hot right now, but back 2 or 3 years ago, rhythm was still a little bit smaller, and like that bro step, like sustained sound was definitely more prevalent. And I like all genres of music, even though like people think I only listen to dubstep. Like I came up off house, I know how to shuffle, you know what I'm saying? Like so I like I like playing weird stuff. I like playing a lot of like hip hop, like vocals, and doing a lot of loops, and just really kind of playing a set that everybody can enjoy. Obviously if I'm playing for a dubstep crowd or something, Northern Invasion, I'm gonna slam with some rhythm, doubles, triples, So that's what I've been kind of building my set now, and like really kind of looking through like my real rhythm playlist, my rhythm anthems playlist, and I've also been downloading a lot of like unreleased, Patreon plates and IDs, because I know Brian, with all the artists he's managing, is gonna have some heat.
He's
like,
got
he's
some
probably gonna have a whole
artillery.
entire playlist of unreleased shit. So I was like, I want to get on that level and not be playing the same like basic stuff that you've been hearing in the Festival Finesser sets, and I want to have something new. I really want to, like I said, have something to prove and show. And this me and Brian actually have been, kind of going back and forth a little bit, like what we're gonna play, and what kind of vibe we're gonna bring, what songs we're gonna be playing, so we're not playing the same stuff. And the one thing that I am very concerned about is like I said, I got something to prove, so I want to be slinging triples, but I also don't want to be like stepping on his side of the decks and like fucking up his flow, and like I want to make sure I have the time to get everything loaded properly, because I feel like just double after double, like you can only do so much. And like I said, I want to get creative. I want to play songs that people aren't expecting. I got some, like, I'll be playing Green Day in my sets, I'll be playing Avril Lavigne, be playing Drake, like Beastie Boys. Like and then it goes into like dubstep rhythm. Yep. It's like I feel like it all flows and meshes together very well. So I'm not sure if I'm gonna be doing that kind of vibe, but I also feel like if you heard Skater Boy by Avril Lavigne at Northern Invasion, you would be like, yo, what? Like, what is he doing right now? And then so like, yeah, we'll see what happens. But right now I'm just kind of like building a playlist and testing it on the decks, and just like seeing like which double is the best. And then like once you have the best double, it's like, can you add a triple to it, and just like what is coming after the next one? Does it build up? Does it just go into a breakdown? So yeah, me and Brian have been like plotting and preparing, giving ourselves a little bit of time to like build an idea of what we're going to be playing, and then kind of have a short chat like this, just of like who's going to play first, what you're going to be, what the order is going to be, what kind of songs you're playing, so we can kind of feel the vibe. And it's like, oh, I got a double for that I can play after this, or like so like I said, I don't want to step on anybody's toes, and like he's got a double, I'm like, yo, I'm gonna get a triple in here real quick, and he's like, no, I got something next, so I want to have some kind of communication, because it is a big booking, it is a big pedestal, but also I'm very good at like, if you know me, like I'm a goofball, and it's like, it's not that serious. And the one thing that I always say is like, I'm up there doing it live as fuck. There's no pre-recorded, there's no edits. I am chopping everything you hear, and like, so if I fuck up, like, it happens, like I'm not a pro, it's like I don't have CDJs at home. I have similar, close, and that's how I've gotten my comfortability on stage, and that's how I've been able to like learn, like, like I would say my CDJ knowledge is above average, with the amount of technical things I know. And the biggest thing is like whenever there's an error, goes into some kind, like something's not loading, or like there's like, it's playing backwards, or the track won't load, or like, I've learned to like troubleshoot all of those mistakes because I've dealt with them in my own studio. So yeah, that gives me the comfort of like, if anything's going wrong, like how to fix it, how to set the, get everything, the BPMs to match right. And so like that is like reassuring. And it's like, I tell myself I've done it before. It's not the first time I'm getting behind some decks and playing, and it's not the first time I'm playing with Brian either. So like, same thing, we get a lot of love from the crowd. So if we fucked up, I'll have no problem wheeling it back, and we're gonna do that again. Yeah, and the crowd was just gonna roar and run it up. You know what I'm saying?
Remember last year when Squishy brought up Hamro, he went to go press the decks and he pressed the wrong deck, and he was just like, my bad, wrong deck. It's just like, hey, we can, I tell everybody, we can have the perfect game plan. It can be life, it can be our set. Some shit's gonna go haywire. We all know that. But, we're all people. I know everybody thinks we have to be perfect. Because I remember I got to play my first show with Riddim University. It was my first time. Like, I've had my decks, but never CDJs. And I get up there and I play, and I do something. I'm like, fuck, I messed up already. And it's all good. I took a deep breath.
To not show it. You could see when you're fucking up. And like, if it's like, I messed up, but we're going to recover and keep it moving,
Yes, correct.
Don't dwell on the past.
Yep. So, yeah, your guys' set, you guys are going to have some artillery. I know that your guys' set's going to pop off. You guys are going to do great.
We're bringing the energy for sure.
Bring the energy. But from somebody who's also going to be attending yourself, what's a set that you're looking forward to this year? Well, first, sorry. Let me segue back. What day are you guys getting up there? Because they've announced 2 pre-parties now.
Yeah, so we are going to be arriving on Thursday. We have a homie flying in from New Orleans. Y'all know Nolan with the afro. He's going to be flying in from New Orleans, and we're going to be driving him to Montreal with us. And then we have another homie from New York who is going to be, meeting me at my house. And then We're going to be traveling up together. So we're going to get there Thursday. We don't know what time. And the thing that, like I said, it's only a 5, maybe 6 hour drive, not including stops. But no, we never account for is the weather. It's raining, snowing, and the conditions get a little dangerous. So it's like you got to take it a little bit easier, and then traffic builds up. So like it could end up being 7 or 8. So we actually don't have any pre-party tickets. However, I was informed that anybody playing the main Northern Invasion event gets access to the pre's, the afters. So I'm hoping that's valid for me and my +1. The only thing that sucks is our homies don't have tickets, so I don't think I'm gonna leave them hanging in Montreal. Like, I'd rather be with my homies and experience all that together than go to the pre-parties. Unless the other thing I've been thinking is like, hey, the Alpha guys might want me to be at the function to capture it, the pre-party, because it's like it's not gonna be as heavily captured. It's not as big of a space. It's also they bought a venue out there. Yep. They have a bar, so that's the one of the, I'm not sure if it's the first, but it's like the first big one. And once they announced that, I was like, yo, the pre-party and after party are happening right at that spot. So
shout out Sanzu for selling that out in I think 90 seconds or 120 seconds. Shout out Sanzu, by the way.
Yeah.
Sold that out wild. I was like, that's I think that has to be the fastest Riddim show to ever sell.
What's crazy too is that's like an American takeover, which I didn't even realize. He brought that to my attention that there's nice hat. He brought to my attention that it's a bunch of American art, and it's like a lot of like our friends that we know, like locally, Papa Runks, Guru, Proxy, who my boy manages, Sanju headlining. So, like, those are all kids that we like rage with, grew up with, and it kind of like came up together. So it's really dope to see them all get the recognition and exposure that they finally deserve.
Well, who are you looking forward to the most that weekend?
It's crazy. I don't even really know the lineup that well. I know it. I know.
Here you go. I got you. So Arctic Shivers, Aeonics.
Both of them.
If I was going, Mad Dubs, because I have yet to see Mad Dubs.
I just saw Mad Dubs, and now having just seen him, I'm like, yo, I can't even wait to see what he's gonna throw down in Northern Invasion, because it's gonna be crazy. And his music just has such a high energy already, mixed with that Montreal crowd and like the hype of the weekend. That room is gonna be jumping.
I think the Stains also. He's going back to back with
Stains
somebody.
Stains and 7.
Deuces.
Deuces, I'm hyped to see, bro.
Like, I gotta shout out the boy Inactive.
It's crazy, dude. Like, a lot of these artists I'm listening to for so long, and it's like I have not gotten the opportunity to see them. And it's like if I have, like I saw Inactive, but it was also back to back Chango and Sanzu. So seen the Vulgar Boys a bunch of times. They're gonna throw down.
Oh yeah.
But that's what I'm more hyped to see, the artists that I don't get to see, like Glocks, Nexus, right? Like so.
And a solo shiver set. I mean, we did get to witness the 2-hour Obey back-to-back shivers legendary set.
Riddim history, right?
Riddim,
there, bro.
Yes, I will proudly say if somebody was like, "What's your favorite set of all time in your life?" I'll be like 2-hour set shivers back-to-back Obey.
That one's definitely up there.
But perfect.
Let me look at this lineup one second before we continue, just to make sure I'm not forgetting anybody that I really want to see. Honestly, Bad Phase and Apocalypse. I have never seen Apocalypse.
Oh no!
So like that is somebody to check off my list. And yeah, Bree is really hyped on Inactive too. But what's funny is I know Inactive for coming up, with for being Tear Out, Threat Level. That's the song that put me on.
Yep.
And he really kind of stopped doing that. I mean, Blitz also is another heavy Tear Out song that he did. But now he's really like just like dialing on that Riddim sound and that Riddim vibe, and like, so I know he's gonna be, it's gonna be an interesting set for sure.
You listened to that showcase yet?
No, not yet. Honestly, I don't listen to a lot of mixes. I don't listen to a lot of showcases. I listen to a lot of music that I spin, because it's like I like to get myself familiar with the sounds and like just how it goes.
You gotta listen.
Those are like,
listen to the Inactive 2024 showcase that just got released. He's got so much stuff. It's not even funny. I can tell you.
Dude,
about
I heard
that
he made
also.
I heard since the year started, in the last 25 days, he's made 80 songs. Like he has 80 songs ready to be released. Then he's just bumping out like 3 songs a day. So and then he's like 19? Like, dude is the future, low key.
I mean, I did host him and Brian. I mean, everybody saw the Brian video I did. He just starts mixing in the background. He made like a couple while here at my apartment. I'm just like, all right, man. Hey, you need to release Portland blocks. Inactive, if you're listening, I know you joked around that you're going to make Portland blocks. Let me know if you make that and send it to me because I need that. But, well, perfect. Well, best of luck with Northern Invasion. Sadly, I won't be there. Safe travels there. Have a great
You'll
set.
see it on video. Don't worry.
I will. I'll see everybody will be sending me stuff, and everybody's going to be like, where's Nate? Where's Nate? I'm in Portland, guys. Couldn't make it this year. It's all good. Well, perfect. Well, the one great thing for like you and myself, I guess, is we've been in the scene for a little bit now. Both bring different perspectives from me growing up in the Midwest, now living in the West Coast, and you being from the East Coast. I guess from you documenting over time, what have you kind of seen change from the scene, from the underground perspective, from like your early on days to now? I'll let you go first, and then I can kind of hit on what I saw in the Midwest.
Sure. So I feel like the one thing that is like the biggest variable is like your age, because it's like, it's new to you, and it's like, it's very like, almost like kind of like a culture shock when you go from like going to, like your typical like mainstream venue and then going to like that fucking like underground hole in the spot, like no sign on the door. You're just like, it's like, if you know kind of vibe. And it's just like, you go and you see the same people every weekend, and it's like not even a big crowd, but the room has such a big energy. And like, you're seeing all these underground artists that you finally get to put a face to the name to. It's like, I know all these artists from SoundCloud, but I never knew what they looked like. I never, and it's like, then all of a sudden you're seeing them like this close, on a playing off a table, with like some lights that like your homie got off Amazon, and it's like the most raw thing ever. And it's like that was a big part of like really, it was like the energy and the people mixed with the artists. We used to go to a spot called Sunnyvale, and it was like this low budget, small kind of like dive bar looking place, but it used to get packed like, I don't even know how many. I would say maybe like 300 people at times, and it probably didn't even fit that many. But there's people inside, outside, on the dance floor, on the side of the wall, sitting down, like at the bar, and we saw like some crazy acts come through, and that like made some crazy memories. You had Shivers come through there, Wooly came through there, Sullivan King came through there, Subtronics and Dirty Monkey came through there. Like some national touring headliners now that you, like I said, you get to see them 10 feet away from you, actually see what they're doing. Fizo, like Ominous, we got like a lot of like OGs, and so I think the biggest like what made it all kind of like start going downhill was the pandemic. It's like the pandemic happened, and then there was a lot of like butting of heads. It was two sides during the pandemic. It was I'm gonna stay inside and follow the rules, and I'm gonna keep going out and doing what I love. And like the people that were staying in and were talking shit on the people that were going out, because it's like you're providing a bad example. You shouldn't be doing that, being dangerous, unsafe, inconsiderate. And so like a lot of that, there was like, I don't want to say there was like grudges, but there was like, some beef between friends and homies and promoters, and like people weren't getting booked, and it was a lot of drama. And then so like when the post-pandemic, the drama, it's like the longer like post-pandemic, the less people forgot about it. It's like, why are we even like arguing for? Like, that shit is in the past. We're all homies. We all were homies, So the biggest thing for me now is like when I go to the show, I don't know anybody in the crowd. I'm like, we're all my friends. And it's like, I'm almost 30, I'm 28. So it's like, I've been doing this for like 10 years. And, at like 25, people kind of start like, fading out, getting married, getting a house. Again, like life happens, priorities. You can't afford to go out every weekend and chase every festival and go on these, long ass road trips for 4 days and take off work. And, like people got kids and like all these other, life priorities. And that's something that I've been like really kind of focusing on myself, is like, if I took away all of my, my content creation, my EDM lifestyle, what I really have to show for myself, like, and when I thought about it, I was like, damn, not much, like, not to say my whole entire personality is EDM, but like, a lot of like, my passions and what I do are revolving around that. And if I didn't have that, it's like, what would I be doing? And it's like, when you look at like what I'm doing with my life, it's like, I still live at home with my parents. I got like a dime a dozen job at the grocery store. All my friends, it was their first job, and I'm working with high school kids, and again, I'm a manager, so it's a little bit different. I'm making decent money. I got benefits, all that stuff. It's a stable job. I'm getting paid every week, but It's like my car is not the nicest kind of car, so it's just like I want to, all these kids are doing this kind of stuff, and they're doctors, or they got kids, they got a house, they got apartments, they're doing like adult things, and I'm not to say I'm not doing adult things, I'm working my way towards that, but this year I'm really focusing on like taking a step back from the EDM, and me and Bree are on a warpath to move out. We got a joint savings account, we're adding money each week, and we're not going out as much to just keep our pockets heavy, and what's the other thing that I realized too is like, yeah, you can save money, and it's like, oh, you're the festival Finesser, so you go to all that stuff for free, but it's like what's not free is the expense of traveling, the expense of staying at a hotel, and then what a lot of the time what happens is like we go somewhere, we go to Philly, an hour and a half drive, and then we come back next morning and we got a flat tire, $200 to get the tire fixed. We got our like just getting a ticket on the car, $100, because you parked in the wrong spot. So then it's like all that kind of stuff. It's like, yo, it's not even worth going out because we're not even having fun like we used to. Like, it sucks to say that, but it's because, like I said in the beginning, you're not with our friends. Like that like camaraderie, that like squad out, that like pregame. We used to meet up all at my house, 10 people at the crib, DJing, drinking, pre-gaming, taking 2 cars, following each other to the venue. Now it's literally me and Bree all day, every day. So it's like, it's not what it used to be, and like, yeah, we still have friends that we see there, but a lot of those friends are not in our like they're not in our personal lives. They're only in our EDM lives, and we only see them at shows in dark ass, loud ass places, and we're always like, "Hey man, how are you? I'm good," and that's as far as the conversation goes, like. So we used to have friends that we chill with outside of the scene. We'll be hanging out, smoking, watching movies, doing this and that, going out to for food, and and just hanging out and like being homies and friends. But like now we have what we call show homies that you only see at the show, and that's it. You know what I'm saying? So that's the biggest change I've seen. And like there was the other thing too is like there was a very like there was the spot. And now there's not really a spot anymore. It's like there's a spot, there's like a thing over here, a thing over there, and everyone's like, what the heck is this place? I've never been here. It was like you didn't even have to ask. You just knew to pull up to the venue, and you didn't even care who was playing. You knew it was going to be lit. And now it's like I'm a little bit more selective because I'm going to these events and I'm not getting that same dopamine rush that I was used to. And again, I've also been doing it for 10 years, so not everything is as is not like there's no like wow factor as often, unless it's someone I've never seen, or like the venue. Like if I'm going to Brooklyn Mirage, yeah, that's gonna be a wow factor seeing Sudden Death because of the production and the visuals and the fire and the pyro. But a lot of the venues we go to don't even have an LED wall, So it's like not that matters because Northern Invasion, perfect example. But when it's like smaller artists, the crowd is just there to kind of get fucked up and just be on whatever substances. And I spend a lot of time like, again, the older I get, the less time I spend actually moshing and just capturing the pit, because it's like, I don't want to get cracked in the face and, like.
We get older, our bodies can only do so much in the pits. Like, I'm going to Thunderdome coming up here, and my buddy's like, yeah, we're going to be in the pits. And I'm just like, I might be in a couple. But it's not like what it used to be.
I think as far as like the change in the scene, I think it has a lot to do with me getting older and a lot of my friends kind of like fading out of the scene, which makes it like a little bit less fun, and also like more of a struggle, because it's like when you used to have 5 kids coming down to the function, everyone could throw gas, you got all the homies in the car like chopping it up like on the way there, and just like building hype, and then like after the fact do a little post game and just like recovery, everyone's smoking and listening to music and watching Netflix and whatever, and like we don't really do that anymore. And again, like we're getting older, and it's like we gotta go to work the next morning and all that stuff, and we would take those days off, but it's like it's crazy. It's like the FOMO is really non-existent. It's like I have to have like people send me. I'm like, there's one kid in particular who is just so in the loop, and he sends me shows that I didn't even know were happening. He's going to this. I was like, bro, I didn't even see this flyer ever. Like I don't even know who the promoters are. Like, how did you find out about this? And so like that's kind of how I've been keeping tabs on like what's going on. But it's like when you stop like chasing and you're going out just to go out, you start to realize like, yo, like it's actually more fun when you take some time off, and then it's a little bit more like you forget how fun it is, and like the presence of everything, and like so it is nice to like take some time off and like space your functions out and you're going out, and like I said, it hasn't been like it was when I was younger. And again, between the pandemic, the venues, the crowd, and all of that, like the promoters, all of that, like coming together, it's like there's definitely been a change. And I've like lived through it. It's
Yeah.
like there was a point in time where we was like we had a spot at the basement, then we had a spot at Slake, then we had Sunnyvale, then we had like well, I mean, then the pandemic happened, and then it was like no one knew where to go. All of a sudden, like all the OG promoters, like they fell off the map, and then there was these new kids on the block, and like so then we had to like rebuild a connection in the community, and like now the new community is not the OGs. You know what I'm saying? Like we're still part of the OG community. It's a lot of those older guys that like we all kind of hang out like the older cats because it's just like we all get it. We all have that same kind of stuff in common. We all came up together and we all know how it should be. All these like the new kids are like I said, it's crazy to them because I've never done this before and they want to keep doing it and chasing that like that crazy like feeling of going to a show and like losing your shit and like so
I kind of
yeah,
talk
definitely
about
like
I was talking with somebody how it's kind of we're at the age right now where it's like the flip. When we were in the crowd when we first started going, we looked up to everybody. A bunch of artists have even talked about this also, where they've looked up to these artists before. They were in the or in the crowd, and now it's like flipped. New people are coming into the industry. It's just it's a revolving door also. So I
yeah.
think we're coming into a new age, which is great. And I think sometimes for us, we're all just like, oh, it needs to be back with the old days. But at the same time, it's just a new age of up and comers also, which also back then we would see some younger artists, but now we see some young artists that are just
Yeah.
way ahead of game way back in, I would say even like 3 years ago. You have huge
Yeah.
names that can't even play because they're not 18, and yet you see them on SoundCloud and their tracks are just unbelievable. So that's kind of a little bit the change I've been seeing. I mean, you see it in all, but yeah, I do agree with you on all those statements 100% through and through that, yeah, there's times and change, but also, good things come from change is what I always say. New opportunities, new artists, new things, which has been great. And I'm kind of also like taking a step back this year from going to things, and it's really good. I think it's also for myself to kind of go to those events that like I want to go to. Or so like next year, of course,
Right. Yeah.
summoning. Yeah, like that's an underground heaven. Like you guys getting spoiled with the Dub Hub takeover and like you guys witnessing history over at summoning this year. Like those are the ones I want to go to. But like me living out here in the West Coast now, like I'm just like a concert venue bucket lister, I guess, like going to famous venues whatsoever. So
Yeah.
going to the Tacoma Dome, it's awesome, great venues. Like going to the Gorge for Bass Canyon, I just gotta go there. I went saw the Grateful Dead there. Also, just being able to check off venues that are super famous to me is kind of what I'm going after now in my life. Like I was in Dallas, Texas, and Billy Bob's is a really, really famous country honky tonk that has like cultivated country music. We went there for a night, and I was like, "You guys don't understand like how famous this venue is, right?" And they're like, "No." And I'm just like a history of just like music, all of it. So that's what kind of I'm doing nowadays. But yeah, I kind of look for that, but I understand of just like we all have lives, we all have like people don't know. Yeah, like people probably think all the time for you, like, man, you can just go to all these events. So you're like, I still have a life.
Yeah, and I have to take off work, and I gotta,
Yeah.
I gotta afford myself to get there, and I gotta afford a hotel for myself, and so the one thing I do want to say though, you were mentioning like going to like the bucket list stuff. The more I've been doing like the Festival Finesser stuff, it's like I wanna do new things now, and it's like I've been going to FK the last 3 years. I've been going to Big Dub the last 4 years. I've been going to Lost Lands the last 5 years, and it's like you've all kind of seen it, And it's like the more I go to these festivals, the less I'm seeing the performance and the views, because it's like you kind of know what to expect, even with the on stage, backstage kind of experience and the mosh pits and the camping and whatever. So now, like our new thing for 2024 is like West Coast festivals, Bass Canyon, EDC Vegas, Forest with a Squad, what I'm saying, and like really doing new things, not only for myself, but maybe I've been there once, but my other friends have never been there, so like I can kind of go and show them the ropes. So like that's kind of like what's on the agenda for 2024 is just like new experiences to share. And I want to go to Dance Fest, I have a lot of things that are on my plate that have been on my plate for years, and it's just like all those other East Coast festivals are convenient because they're close. I can drive to that. You don't have to worry about a flight. You get to get the camping. You don't got to worry about a hotel. So like that is kind of like a new, like our new fad of 2024 is just new festivals. So if you don't see me going to FK and Lost Lands, it's not because I'm hating, it's because I'm saving money for other things.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
You want to know kind of a full circle moment? Your first Dance Festopia video you made, you used my tweet in it.
No way. That's so crazy.
Yeah, you did. I tweeted at you like, are you gonna like come to this? And it was a crazy lineup. I think that was going into the COVID year, so I don't think that's why you ended up making it. But I think but I do have one that you can add to your list that you maybe should check out. Infrasound.
Infrasound, I've heard of that.
Just look up the Infrasound.
Where's that out of?
Minnesota. So it's a little south of Minneapolis, but just look up when you got free time. Bomber 360 set Infrasound.
Word. Okay.
I'll leave you at that.
Leave it at that.
If you know that Bomber 360 set at Infrasound is absolutely mind blowing. They had the Element 5's best sound system in the game. But yeah, add Infrasound to your bucket list because it definitely is an amazing one. Well, perfect. Well, man, look at the time. We're just chit chatting. Look at this.
I told you, bro. I'm a talker.
I know. This is great. Well, we'll just talk about two more things since I kind of want to stir the pot. Not really, though. East Coast Underground versus the South, a.k.a. Florida. Unbelievable scenes. Have you made it down?
Yeah.
You've seen it. What's your comparison?
I've been to Florida. I've been to both, like, you know, like kind of like the mainstream like FK pre-party and stuff like that. I've also been to like the underground. The dudes over at Stun FL do some really sick shit, and it's like I've seen that lineup, and I was expecting to go to like, you know, some kind of like you know, not the Vanguard, but like something kind of like a legit venue, you know. And we went to like a bar, and I was like, again, same kind of scenario where it's like the DJs are playing off a table 10 feet away from you with just like some basic lighting, but the room is jumping. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the kind of stuff that we're used to over here. But I will say that like the artists that are coming through there and coming out of there do not even compare to the East Coast. You know, it's like, you know, like like I said, you know, I feel like there's just much more of a core scene out there as opposed to being in New York City. It's a tourist, you know, it's a tourist like melting pot, and it's just like people that are there that you see, you know, you're never going to see again because they're just there for the weekend, or they just want to go out and party with their friends, and their friend might be an OG, you know, raver or whatever, rhythm kid. But, you know, like I said, I feel like in Florida, it's very tight knit, and it's like once you get in, you don't come out. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're just in that rhythm pool, like, and it's, you know, there's a lot of, you know, like I said, there's a lot of artists playing, a lot of, whether they're local or regional or even national, you know, and it's like and then you have FK coming out of Florida as well. So it's like giving a platform for all those artists to have like their local festival, you know, for the world, you know, for the dubstep community to see. So like, I don't even think it honestly compares. You know, Florida goes way harder, and they're just way more about the culture and the scene. And
I know somebody's gonna ask though. Do you put Florida over Denver? That's a tough one, though. I know that
is a tough one.
That's a tough one.
I'm not like I've only been to Denver a few times. I think once or twice, and the one time I went was for a Ganja White Night show on 420. So like not even really like a dubstep kind of thing, but I've been seeing the rhythm scene really kind of like pop off. And what really kind of made me notice is my boy Shashow, who I think we're going to be having on here soon. I'm also playing a show with him in February.
Did you just leak that?
I don't know. Did I?
No, you're all good.
You got it. First exclusive news.
Exclusive.
You heard it here first.
Swando back-to-back Shashu on Chop It Up. You ready for that one? That's gonna be sick.
So Shasha used to be like a Philly cat, you know, over here. Maybe not in Philly, but like, you know, when I went to Philly, I always saw him. I think he might have been from like the DMV area. Anyway, he moved to Denver, and his career exploded, dude. And that made me think like, damn, what if I relocated? You know, like I have a buzz here, but it's like I know like my buzz goes beyond New York City, and if I had a new foundation in another state or another like big scene, who knows what that could do for my career, my content, my DJing, whatever. But you know, I know they got the whole studio time going out there with like those like mix sessions.
Yeah.
And I'm like I know there's a lot of like crazy rhythm coming out of Denver, and there's like I forget the promoters, but it's like I know there's more than one like big rhythm University. Shout out Riddim University. Word. And I even think Dubstep FBI is out of Colorado too. I don't know if it's
Correct.
Denver, perhaps.
Yes, I
But
believe they
that's
are.
they've been killing it and doing their thing and really covering like all aspects of the culture, whether it's underground, above ground. So
It's a
like
tough conversation. I know, but
Denver is definitely a
somebody
base
below
capital.
is gonna. I know. Yeah, definitely they're gonna be down below defending
Maybe
Denver.
not the base capital, but Denver is definitely a base capital. But Florida, as I think a rhythm capital,
Is the
you know what I'm
underground
saying?
Yeah, is the rhythm capital of the
Yeah,
United States. I agree with that statement
I
there.
remember. I think Subtronic's his recent Lost Land set, he had a pre-drop vocal, and it was like, "Drop it like a Florida local," like, and it was just like, damn, like he really gets it. Like that scene in Florida is raw.
Nuts. Incredible, to be honest with you. And I was talking with Toggle about this on our episode. If a normal person drove by TK Lounge, they wouldn't know that that is just a karaoke bar. But in the rhythm industry, that's like the iconic venue. That's a
That's the
karaoke
motherland.
bar, which is
Yeah.
awesome. But no,
I've never been, but that's one of those like bucket list venues that I'm trying to go to. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
like
TK
you
is
were
on my
saying.
list, and it's a karaoke bar. Who would know?
Right.
Who would know? Who would know? Well, perfect. Well, also, let's wrap this up with a little rapid fire. This is from your boy.
Right.
This is just straight off my noggin. All right.
All right.
First question. What is the most heat you got on your back sneaker wall there? Your gem.
My gem. Oh man, hold on.
Because
Give me a
I think the
second
people got to know this. They've been looking at this sneaker wall for years.
Yeah, and honestly, I've never really done anything like this. So give me like 1 minute.
Oh, no,
to
you are
just, like,
good. The people need to know this. He's got the OGSB's boxes back there. I'm a sneakerhead for all those who don't know. How I made money in college, is I was a sneaker reseller for people. I had the bigger shoe size, so I'm a sneakerhead through and through. I live in Portland, Oregon now, so I live in Nike's backyard, so it's kind of nice having access to a little bit more sneakers. I've sold some shoes to some NFL players, some cool stuff, but man, people have been seeing that wall back there. Got some blue boxes, some teal. He said he had some gold boxes too, some gold SB boxes. Let's see what we bring out here. You don't need to be making a mess now.
Well, it's hard to choose. It's hard to choose. All right, I got like four or five of my favorite, like whether they're sentimentally or like in the game, like rare, exclusive, whatever.
Okay, all right,
So
let's see it.
This is a recent pickup. I actually have two pairs of these. One to rock and one to stock. These are the Metacoms. I'm not sure if you can see, but they're like
Ooh,
a
nice.
fuzzy, like a furry kind of just clean black and white. I can wear them like with anything. And I got those for like a pretty good price. I don't pay anything like more than 200. That was like my max for shoes because
Resale's crazy.
Retail is $90 on these things, bro. Why am I buying them for $200, dude? So these are the corks. It's
Okay.
entirely made out of cork, and you can literally put a thumbtack in there, and like it is real cork in the shoe.
There you
Not
go.
the most comfortable shoe, but I'm also not a high top dude, so that was just like one of those. Like the thing about Nike SB is it's like they're conceptual. It's like you're not just gonna get a colorway, you're gonna get a theme behind it. You're gonna get different patterns and textures, and the detail is always like between the insole, the tongue, the laces, the lace tips, the lace locks. There's always some. So now we're getting into the older stuff. This is probably the shoes I'm gonna get buried in,
Look
and
at that
I'm
box.
probably gonna wear these on my wedding day. These are the Nike SB Concords, and just clean black and white.
Ooh.
The patent leather.
Yep.
They used to have an icy bottom, but I actually wear my shoes. So there was a point in time where I had so many shoes, over 100 pairs, and if I could remember the last time I wore them, I would not wear them. I would wear a different pair of shoes every day, and I'd make an outfit to go according with it. So these are one of my favorite pairs, just black and white. That patent leather is clean, and it has like that same kind of like Concord material that like the
Yep.
actual Concord 11s have. If you're a sneakerhead and know about the J's.
So,
I also have the Space Jams too.
I wore Concord 11 baseball cleats and Pro Ball.
Damn, that's a flex.
Yeah, I was rocking them.
And then these are the last ones. These are the Walk of Fame. This is another one of my favorite shoes, and it's supposed to replicate the Hall of Fame, street on or not the Hall of Fame, the Star Street. I don't even know what it's called. I'm drawing
The
a blank.
walk I can't even speak
Walk,
right now. Walk of
Walk of
Stars.
Fame. Yes, the Walk of yeah. So it has like the gold like the stars, that same little, and then like the detail on this is like the street, like the I guess
Love that.
the yeah. So those are some of my favorite pairs, and I had a lot more, and it's funny the when the market was dying, there was a point in time where I couldn't sell SBs on eBay. I could not for $60 trying to get these shoes off my hands. So I had a homie I used to work with. He was like, "Yo, you got any SBs for sale?" And I was like, "I do, honestly." Me thinking the market is dead, I was letting them go for like box, below box, like my most heat pairs. Then I realized the reason he was asking because the market was skyrocketing when the Travis Scotts came out, the Ben and Jerry's, and I basically got robbed blind. And he wouldn't give me them back or sell me them back or whatever. So that's that. Because of that, I'm now traumatized. And I don't let any other shoes go. And I've only been trying to like add to the collection. So
Nice.
that is a quick glimpse of my sneaker collection.
Great. That's awesome. I've always wanted to know that. Always.
I'm sure not the only one, man.
I know.
That was the first. I was an FF first.
Yeah. All right. Well, second now. Favorite festival? Putting you on the spot.
Honestly, I'm gonna have to go with Lost Lands, mainly because like what it's done for me, and when I go there, I feel like a celebrity. It's like I always say like each kind of content creator has their festival. Like the content creators that I was looking up to when I was starting were Emma Capotes, who her festival is EDC. And then Vibe with Aid, her festival is Electric Forest. My festival was Lost Lands. So like my first festival, I brought the camera there, was running all around the festival, and then I've been every other year, and so it's just like between, and again, like the artist, the production, the size of it, like I love that, like that overwhelming feeling of like, holy shit, there's so many people here, holy shit, the place is so big, holy shit, there's fire going everywhere, holy shit, there's fireworks going off, like I love that. And it's like there's very few festivals that compare production wise. Second would probably be EDC Vegas because of that same aspect. It's like it's huge, the production is crazy, it's always a crazy lineup, and it's like also dark the entire time. It's all night sets, so that is a unique aspect as well. And that's what, again, like that was when I was not prepared for. And like again, one of the reasons I started the channel was because like when I was getting ready to go to that festival, and I was getting the same like pace yourself, hydrate, wear comfy shoes, and then I went and I was like, bro, I did not know I was gonna be getting home at 10 a.m. every day. Like no one told me that. So like. And I shared my experience, and when I got positive feedback, and it was like, no dislikes, that's what made me make a whole entire switch to a festival channel, because I was like, I got something going here with all these comments and like praise for what I was doing and just sharing my advice and tips.
Yeah, love that. All right, the first artist that got you into EDM.
Wow. Honestly, it was like I said earlier, I came off house, so like it was probably Hardwell. I was my senior year of high school. And just very kind of like, I would say I was sheltered a lot in high school. Like I didn't do drugs, I didn't drink alcohol. I was a big skate rat, and all I did was skate, and I was straight edge, and I didn't need anything. Like skating was just my passion, So when I heard, I was like, a couple of these kids were gone for like a week, and I was like, damn, where are all these like football kids at? And someone said they went to Ultra, and I was like, what the heck is Ultra? And then so I like looked it up. And I was like, oh my God, these kids are there right now with no parents? Like, and then so like I was watching Hardwell's set, and like, I had liked EDM, like, Skrillex and Borgore and like, the OGs. And but then like being a skateboarder, I kind of like it didn't fit my vibe, and I was very like, I gotta listen to like metal and wear skinny jeans and wear all black and like, be like punk, so when I realized, I was like, bro, I can do whatever I want. I don't have to be a skater image. Like, so I started listening to more, Blaster Jacks, Hardwell, Afrojack, Martin Garrix. And then all of a sudden I was seeing those artists for the first time at EDC. All of them. You know what I'm saying? Like GTA, like the classic, like, electro house dudes.
Yeah.
Bass jackers, like just those kind of dudes. Benny Benassi, Calvin Harris, so that was like, those kind of artists were really kind of like what brought me into EDM and the festival lifestyle. And then so I didn't really get into dubstep until I went to Moonrise, and my friend's older brother, who was like, teaching us like the artists, and we're, listening to, when it was allowed, Bass Nectar and like Datsik and Excision and like all those kind of dudes, like, the dubstep dons of the time. We were like, having going from the groovy house to the crazy dubstep was like, whoa, shit, like this is what, it's like there's more energy here, and I like that part of it and the energy. And then like, so then I kind of started going from like house to trap to dubstep, and then once I kind of like got locked in with dubstep, then I found Riddim at Camp Bisco in 2016 at the 12th Planet Wave Pool set. If you were there, and I can remember like being at school and in college, like freshman year, having R28D by Ben's Mixer on blast, just on repeat, because I was like, I never heard Riddim before that, and I was like, what is this like dark, deep, stompy sound, and like I was really fucking with it. Infect, Orgalorg, Obscurial, Double Obscurial, like all those like classic Infect tunes, and even like a lot of monks I was listening to, like when I was getting into Riddim, he kind of fell off honestly, but like he was like making a lot of like a lot of rhythm that I liked at the time. So
yeah, nice. All right, one more. Who are 3 artists that you listen to now that people should listen to? They could be new. They can be.
I'm gonna be biased here. Y'all should check out Bellatrix. Just started producing. That's my girl. I taught her how to DJ, and she's taken the production route, and she's already put out like 5 tracks. If you're into the heavy tear out, you're definitely gonna fuck with it. And she has been progressing very quickly, and honestly, it's surpassing me with the bookings that she's been getting. She definitely has more bookings than I have in the last year. So like, definitely check out my girl Bellatrix. And damn, you're putting me on the spot.
I know,
honestly.
putting you on the spot.
let me see real quick what SoundCloud is.
It's like when I asked Hamro. Hamro was like, "Oh boy, putting me on the spot."
Honestly,
right
like
now.
that's a good one too. I've really been fucking with Hamro. Like,
Okay.
not only with his sound, but his mixing and his the way he DJs and the way he uses the echo out. Like that's one of his like signature trades. And like I've been like, honestly, Hamro is like whenever I see him on a lineup, I always try and pop out. Let me think. One more artist that I think people should listen to. Who have I really been fucking with? Honestly, I'm gonna say Glocks. That's someone like who I've been listening to for like the longest time, and every time I see his name, I end up downloading his song. Like, and it's very underground. And again, like I have no idea what he looks like. I have no idea where he's from, but he's just always on SoundCloud, and that's someone like when I found him, I just went down his page, and I was just like, bro, I like every song this guy puts out. It's heavy, it's stompy, and he has like different kind of flows, but it's all just like heavy, and that's I'm a heavy dude, if it's heavy, it's for me. So
good. Perfect. I guess you hit on it too, and I forgot to hit on it too. You got Northern, you got another booking. You're opening for Sweet Tooth. Is there anything that you can hint at? Is there more Festival Finesser sets coming in 2024? What's going on with that?
So I got offered to play a set in May for the same artists that are booking that Sweet Tooth show. Asked me to play, open up for another artist of a similar caliber, actually probably a bigger caliber. And the hint I can give you and everybody watching the podcast is you already had an episode with him. So yeah, I'm not sure if it's gonna be a tour stop, but I honestly, I told them, I was like, I've never taken a booking so far in advance. Like, is it possible to give you guys a soft yes right now, and then if anything happens to come up, but maybe it's a festival, maybe it's a festival booking, maybe it's a free pass to go do content somewhere. Like, some things are better than a booking, But that is the only one that I have like been I guess like proposed. And then, maybe Big Dub again. I've been playing Big Dub the last couple years, so I wouldn't be surprised if I don't get offered, mainly because like you just gotta, you gotta circulate other artists. But I am a fan favorite, they say, and they do have a sister festival called Nightmare. So usually artists that don't get booked on Big Dub get Nightmare. So I played Nightmare as well in 2021. I haven't played it in like 2 or 3 years, so maybe that's calling my name in 2024.
There you go. Well, we'll be on the lookout. For those who are watching the podcast, you could do process of elimination maybe and make your speculations on who he might be playing for. So best of luck with that. Well, perfect. Well, Brian, first off, I really appreciate you. People in the scene are really going to enjoy this episode. And people just want to get to know you a little bit more. Especially I've got to know you a little bit more over the years in our short interactions that we have. We always say what up to each other. Anything else you want to close out to the people? Want to say some words, some shout outs before we wrap it up here?
Shout out to everybody watching. If you watched up until this point, I appreciate you because I told Nate before I got on the podcast, I'm a talker and I will go down a rabbit hole. And I just have so many stories and experiences. And the reason I can remember them all is because they're all on video, you know? So it's like, that's how I can get so detailed. And my memory is not that good. It's just all, you know, it's like having memory on playback. And that's why I've been doing this shit. So, shout out Whoisbrian, shout out Alpha Squadron, shout out Chop It Up, shout out my boy Nate over here, and shout out the whole entire Finesse gang, man. Y'all have been rocking with me for the longest, and you know, like I appreciate y'all. And you guys are the reason I do this. Without you guys, there is no me. So I love y'all. And one time, can I get a year?
All right, last question. Who is next on Chop It Up?
Who is next on Chop It Up? I would really love to see somebody from the Masquerade. Like, whether it be Seven or Inactive, just because, like, I feel like it'd be very comical to either have them do it in their mask or get some identities released, you know, whether it's like indirectly or not. Like, maybe it could be like, you know, how the same way Bear Grylls took off his mask, maybe someone shows their face on Chop It Up.
You might have to speak to their manager about that. I don't know how that will go over.
I got some connections over there. I'll see what's up.
So Masquerade, you're like this 7,000 person to ask me to do the Masquerade.
Really?
Yeah, I have so many people. You give me another one.
Random fact, I saw Vulgar at Big Dub, not fact, but story. I saw them at Big Dub, and after they got off their set, they were chilling, geared up, masked on, everything, sitting on the couch, beating on their phone. I thought it was so funny how, like, it's comical to see because they're, like, casually chilling, but they take their identity very seriously, and it's a big part of their brand.
Mm-hmm.
So, if it wasn't going to be somebody from the Masquerade, I'm trying to think who's really buzzing right now. Honestly, like, it'd be sick to have somebody like Murda, like, who has, like, you know, like, he's been quiet, and he just had the Return EP, and he's still even been kind of quiet, but, like, you know, I feel like he would have a lot to say, and you could talk about a lot of things because he has been doing it for so long, and he's also one of those, like, rhythm pioneers, you know, along with Infect, and, like, you know, he's, you know, even, like, Shivers, like, you know, so I feel like that would be someone, you know, very interesting, who would have a lot of credibility, and a lot of the OGs would be able to be like, oh shit, like, I've never seen a Murda interview, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, he never really gets in front of the camera even.
The first question's gonna be, just tell me about that back-to-back with Infect at Rampage, because that video is just magical. That's all the interview would be about.
I've been fortunate enough to see Murda, you know, and my, like, again, like, those very small venues, you know, sold out show with Virtual Riot, Murda, and Infect at a Izu after party, and this was so long ago. Infect didn't even have merch yet, and I bought an Infect shirt off Redbubble, and I wore it to the show, and I was like, yo, and he was like, yo, that fucking shirt is so cool, and, like, you know, so it's like, I've been fucking with Infect for that long, and I've been doing this shit for that long, so.
Shout out Infect.
Date myself a little bit.
This is the day. This is the day
on the
before.
Podcast too, bro.
Oh, I'm trying. And by the way, I think his remix EP drops tonight. So make sure y'all go listen to that. But once again, Brian, thank you for coming on Chop It Up. It means a lot.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, everybody. This has been episode 8. We have a crazy 2024 with some amazing guests. I've been telling Brian some of the secret ones that we got planned coming up for this year. Chop It Up. This has been Nate. That's been Brian. This has been Chop It Up.
Here.
We'll see you guys later.
Much love.